So today's look is a Bella Hadid inspired, very sculpted face, or sort of like lifted high eyebrows and resting bitch face model sculpted face. This is what it looks like, and I'm gonna show you how you can achieve this yourself. I have already primed my face. I just wanted you to see what it looks like without foundation. So I'm gonna start with concealer. I'm gonna use the Tarte Shape Tape today, and the reason I'm gonna use that is because it's the most smoothing concealer in my opinion. I'm using the shade Light Neutral. So I'm putting on quite a lot, but I'm kind of putting it here. So I'm not actually going all the way out. Then I'm using a brush to sort of like spread it out. I don't like blending it out with a sponge because I feel it takes away too much coverage. And I'm also going up here a little bit because I have some darkness there. I go over it with a damp sponge. And I'm just doing that to sort of like press it into the skin so there aren't any streaks, and also to like pick up if there's any excess product. I'm gonna use a very full coverage foundation, the Smashbox 24 hours full coverage foundation. I love this one. It's very full coverage and it is a little bit too light, but I picked that shade on purpose, and I'm doing that so that we get a really good like blank canvas for our work that we're gonna do. I'm aware that it's too light, so don't get freaked out when I apply it. And as you saw, when I did the concealer, I didn't go all the way out here. So I'm gonna cover here with the foundation instead. And I'm just covering my lip, the contours of my lips, and I'm gonna remove it later on when we do our lips. But for now I'm just covering them, so this is on purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm using it sparingly on my forehead. I have a vein here that is really difficult to cover even with full coverage concealer. So for my eyebrows, I'm going to use this gel pencil. It's an eyebrow pencil from PIXI Endless Brow Gel Pen, and this is in medium. So this is like super soft and it glides on, like it's wet like a gel, and then it dries down. So you can sort of cover your eyebrow hairs with this gel, and then you can really sort of like brush them up, and then it will kind of set and it will stay like that. And you need to use kind of a light hand because otherwise you're gonna get like too much on your skin. And you have to be somewhat quick because it does set. So I'm skipping this part here where I don't have any hair anyway. And now I'm taking a spoolie and I'm gonna brush all the hairs up. What I'm gonna do eventually is I'm gonna place my eyebrows higher up. So I'm using the length of the hairs to sort of like make the new line, like the upper contour line of my eyebrow. That's why I'm doing this. You see that I can sort of like comb it up like this. And this kind of gives my eyebrows a new shape. This is similar, you could say that you would do the same if you use the soap trick that a lot of people like. And as you can see, when I brush it through my brows with the spoolie, it looks pretty natural. So now I can carve them out underneath, because now because I brushed the hairs up and the hairs are pretty long, now I can kind of decide on where I want the lower line to be. So what I'm really doing is I'm moving my eyebrows up a little bit. This is from Huda Beauty, and this is not a base product. This is like a cream eyeshadow. It has like a metallic and a matte, and this matte one just happens to be my exact skin color. So I've been using it when I carve out my eyebrows instead of concealer, and it has really good coverage as well. It's like completely opaque. So when I cover this part here where I have ink, I prefer to use this one. So I'm just putting a little bit on the back of my hand, and you have to be fast when you do this because it dries literally in seconds. I'm gonna go in with Gimme Brow from Benefit. And on top of that, I'm gonna go in with another brow gel product, which is like a metallic gold. And this is to make it look less blunt and more dimension and just a little bit more natural. Now I can cover the rest of my eyelids with, you can use concealer, foundation, or your favorite eye primer. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're going to move on with kind of contouring. The product I'm using is a shading stick, and it's from a Japanese brand. And this one only comes in 2 shades, and none of them are dark. This one is the yellower one. The other one is like a brown pink color. They're incredibly light. That's why I can't really refer to them as contour products. They're called shading sticks. I obviously picked the yellow one, and it's really sort of like a light beige, yellow, light brown kind of thing. And I wouldn't call it a contour because it's not deep enough, and also it doesn't have that gray color. But it's almost like a transition shade between your foundation and your contour. So you can see that it's not exactly contouring, but it still gives you that sort of like definition, which I completely removed with this full coverage and very matte foundation. So this is, you could say that this is the kind of base for our upcoming contour. Okay, so I can feel that this is a little bit yellow, and this is a trick I have whenever I have a foundation or concealer that is too yellow. I bought this powder from Fenty Beauty, and I actually got the lavender one. And the reason I got it is because I wanted to try to see if this would kind of work the same way that color correcting works, but kind of like in reverse, because color correcting, of course, you go in underneath your base. But I wanted to try to see if I could apply this on top of something that is kind of like too yellow and kind of neutralize that. And it works. And that's what I'm using it for. And for today, I'm only gonna apply it where I put that shading stick to kind of make it look less yellow. Can you see how that kind of like took that yellowness down a notch? It does actually neutralize that yellowness. For the rest of my face, I'm gonna set with the Charlotte Tilbury powder in light. Okay, let's move on. So now I'm gonna start with the eyeshadow. And maybe you saw my last video where I did the fox eye look. And I'm gonna start with the same product, but I'm gonna do it differently and you'll see the difference. I'm gonna use this again, this eyebrow pencil from NUDESTIX. I actually like to start with this so that I kind of can map out what I'm going for. And I'm gonna kind of lift my eyebrows when I do this because we're lifting everything. So, you know, when I relax, it's gonna like fall into the right place. I'm going like over my crease. And now we wanna lift everything. And I have, as you can see here, like I have scar tissue on both my sides here, so this is like really kind of heavy. So I'm gonna put a lot on here to make it look sunken, not sunken, but yeah, well, you see what I'm going for here. And I'm really going up and out. And this one kind of disappears when you blend, so don't be scared to like use too much if you were trying something similar. And it does look a little bit blotchy here because I have a scar there, but we're gonna fix that later. As you can see, it kind of just blends away when I blend it, but that's good because it would be hard to work with otherwise. So we're going for this, it's gonna be one with, can you see here, you can see my natural shadow here. We're gonna accentuate that. So we want this like lifted look that Bella has. And when I only have a little bit left on my brush, I'm kind of going here, but I'm not connecting it with the eyebrow. I'm just leaving a little bit between the eyebrow and this. And this is again to make the eyebrow look that it sits very high on the face. And I'm kind of connecting with the nose. Can you see what a difference that makes? And while I'm at it, I'm gonna give my nose and my Cupid's bow a go. I'm gonna leave it at that because I really don't think that I will be able to make my nose look like Bella Hadid's nose with contouring without surgery. So yeah, I'm gonna rely quite heavily on a very specific way of mapping out my temple and cheekbone contours. I'm gonna start with that because this is all connected. So I'm gonna use this one from Dior, and I'm only going to use the contour shade. And I'm gonna use this brush, it's from E.L.F. When we do this contour, we're really gonna just only do basically strokes like this, and I'm not gonna blend it out over like a large area. So as you can see, I already have that shading stick down. I just want to sort of carve it out with one stroke. And then we're gonna do the same here, and we're gonna pull it from the crease and up. And I'm almost crossing the tail of my eyebrow when I'm doing this. I'm gonna connect it with what I'm gonna put over my eyebrow. Should have done this before my eyebrows, really. So you see, it's like these two lines that we want. Actually, I'm gonna use this brush. This is way too flimsy for contour. It's not a dense brush, but it's really thin. So I'm just going to kind of like adhere in some. I'm gonna use an even smaller brush on this side because I want it like super sharp. I really just want it like that, you see? Should have just used this brush from the beginning. And now, of course, we need to blend it out. So I'm using a medium-sized dense brush from Zoeva again. This one's called Face Shape Fitting. And just gonna buff it out to get rid of any harsh lines. That's what I wanted. And I didn't exactly get that on this side, but see how it's just like very precise. Let me try and fix it on this side. Okay, so it's coming together. I'm gonna be using this one. And what I really like about it, not just the shade, but it's a satin finish. It's not shimmery or glittery or anything, but it's not matte. And I know people say that you shouldn't use like shimmers in your crease, but this is like a satin finish. I suppose it's called satin finish. It just gives that. I feel if you're using like only matte shadows, it just looks so like dusty and dry and makeup-y. But with this, it just looks more alive because it has a little bit of like, when you move your face, it reflects the light just a little bit. And that's why I love this one. So now I can really work on this part here. And I'm almost going all the way up to the eyebrow. I don't want to, you know how you usually put highlighter there? I don't want to do that because that's going to accentuate what I'm trying to like hide basically. So I'm really focusing on this lifted and kind of high up placement of everything. And again, working up towards the temple. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of a wing just to like give some direction. And I'm actually going to use eyebrow powder. I really like to use the same product because it's the same color on my eyebrows and like my lash line. Because they're matching, because it's supposed to match, because it's, you know, your eyebrow and your lash hair. And again, because it's not matte, it's not shimmery so that you can see that it's shimmery, but it's not flat, and that's why I like this one. It's called the Dimension Powder. And when I do this type of wing, I like to kind of connect it like a little bit 60s style with the crease. Like this. And it kind of like gives you a liner and that like lifted crease like in one go. And you can either like blend it out, but I like to kind of leave it visible. See how snatched that looks? Love it. And again, when I'm placing this in my crease, I'm actually putting it a little bit over my crease. So I lift my eyelids when I do it because we're again trying to lift everything. So just like with our eyebrows, we've lifted them a little bit. So if you compare this to my last video where I did the fox eye, then the eyebrow was completely straight, no arch. And I was trying to minimize this area, the lid space, and everything was kind of like parallel like this. But now I have more like this rounded shape, like I have this arch and I have this S-line, but it's still this lifted. And what I'm really doing is like I moved my eyebrows up and I moved my crease up, and now I'm also moving my wing up. So it's similar, but not the same. I promise that the next time I do a tutorial, I'm going to do something different. But this is very trendy at the moment as well. This snatched, lifted look. Whenever I do eyeliner, my trick that I always do for my eyes is that I like to keep the line downwards really like sharp. And whatever is underneath, I just really try to make this smooth and flat. So I will always keep this line downwards like crisp, and then I like to blend it out upwards. So as you can see here, I'm leaving it like pretty crisp and I'm blending it upwards. So I'm gonna use this one from Catrice, the middle one, and I'm gonna apply it with my finger. This one isn't too light, but it's really beautiful on like all over the lid kind of thing. And I like to apply it with my finger. And then I'm gonna use that one on this part. It's slightly darker, but it's very similar. I like these like icy kind of like bronze taupes. I love that for eyeshadow. Now for my inner corner, I'm gonna use the WhatsApp from Benefit, the cream one. Okay, so I don't want to do anything too harsh around the eyes, but I'm going just to put something on my waterline, something medium colored. So this is another sort of like taupey bronze metallic gel liner. So as you can see, it kind of marks my eye, but it doesn't give me that like harsh look that like a black or dark brown pencil would. And again, I'm doing like a little double flick there. And the reason I like to do the double flick is because when I do liner, because my eye is so wide, you know how usually you connect them? But if I connect my upper lash line with my lower lash line, like it won't get that narrow shape because it's gonna be too much like shaped like that, because my eye is like really not narrow, you know what I mean? So that's why I tend to do this like double liner instead. So it's kind of my signature. Okay, so we're gonna work a little bit more on our face now. And I'm gonna go over with this one. And this is also from Tarte, and this is a beautiful duo palette that looks like this. I'm not gonna use the highlighter, only the contour shade, and it's so light, but it's cool toned. So that's why I'm gonna use that one. And this one is completely matte. If you want that, like, I used to have really sunken cheeks before, but I don't know what happened. My jaw got a little bit bigger. But if you want this sort of like that, you can kind of go like this and then down just a little bit, like don't make it too visible, but then you get that like model look. There. If we take inspiration from Bella, she has this very sort of like, this whole area is like very, very sculpted, like all the way down here. This product, this is a finishing powder from NYX. It's called NoFilter. So this is a powder, and just like the eyeshadow I just talked about from Catrice, this one has a similar finish. So it's not shimmery. I can't even say it's glowy. It's like labeled matte, but it has that sort of like very, very diffuse reflect to it. And this one has pretty good coverage. So what I use this for, this is almost like your skin in a pan. If you mess up somewhere, let's say you're blending here, and you know when you mess up with like dark eyeshadow, it's kind of hard to remove it. It just gets like blotchy and it's kind of ashy there. Then you can put this one on top and it's almost like erasing it. So see how I have messed up a little bit here? I'm gonna put a little bit of this one on top and you'll see what I mean. See? It's fantastic, and like you really can't see it on the skin either. So I mean, you can like, you can put some here. And if we just think like, oh, this is like a little bit too much here, you know, we can just go over it with this to make it look more subtle. Oh, it's so good. It's almost like an eraser. So now when I add a little bit, now it just looks like my cheekbones here are like larger and rounder. See? And if you look at your skin, like you really can't, it's invisible on your skin. It just mutes everything and like ties everything together. All right, ready for mascara. Okay, you know what we're gonna do now? The lips. And the reason is because this is what really is the mostly inspired by Bella Hadid for this video. So I really like her. She has this like super curved upper lip, like the Cupid's bow, and then her upper lip is like larger than the lower lip. And she has that like perfect like resting bitch face look, and I love it. We are going to take some of the foundation. Okay, so this is making my lips obviously more narrow, but that sort of makes them look taller. Now I already have really full lips, so I don't need to like outline or anything, but like I've already mentioned on my channel, just my lip line is like super vague. I'm putting on lip balm, then I kind of put concealer or foundation like covering my lip line, and then I remove it with a Q-tip, and that way I get like a really sharp lip line, and I can kind of manipulate it so that it looks Anyway, I like it really. I'm gonna try to make my Cupid's bow like this go down more. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a Q-tip and remove the foundation. See what I mean? Because my lips are already pretty pigmented, when I remove the foundation, I automatically get like a crisp lip line. And I don't want to use any like lip product. I mean any like lipstick or anything like that. But what I am going to use, because I am super dry, I'm going to use the Fenty Gloss Bomb. So I'm just going to apply it on the inner parts of my lips. At first it looks like too makeup-y for my taste, but after a bit it sort of sinks in and I think it looks super nice and natural. So now I am going to apply blush, and I almost never use blush, but I have a favorite. So this is from E.L.F. and it's a duo. It looks like this, but I never use the bronzer one because it's way too brown for me. It has a really interesting formula. It's kind of like a putty almost. And when I place this, okay, so this has the perfect color. You know when you had to run to the bus, or you came in from like a brisk walk, you know what I mean? That's the kind of like redness or flushiness that I want. So I'm not gonna put it where you typically apply blush. I'm not gonna put it like on the apples of my cheeks. I'm gonna put it like really high up here, and you'll see what that does. I feel that this looks, first of all, it looks so natural and it looks so youthful. And again, because it's not a powder, it doesn't have that like dry, dusty look, but it's not glowy. But I feel like, you know, when you put on a lot of makeup, it kind of makes you look older just because it looks so makeup-y. And I feel like this instantly removes that. And it just looks like kind of real skin again. And that's why I like this. And you can actually apply quite a lot, because when you apply it high up like this, like it doesn't look stupid if you apply it too much. It just looks like you were in a hurry and you had to run. And you can also just almost like go over your nose a little bit. And here, I love Wayne Goss, and he describes the same thing. He also likes, and he usually likes using like lipstick and stuff, and he'll use something that is like super pigmented. He kind of uses it like this. I've seen it on his channel 100%. So it's not like I invented this or anything. I'm gonna use a very subtle highlighter, but this is very pale. And it also has that sort of like glow, very sort of like subtle glow, but it's very, like the base color is very white almost. So this is good for creating that sort of like definition, which is what this look is all about. And this will help create like volume. I'm gonna apply some just here. Only place where I want really blinding highlighter is really my inner corner, and I'm gonna pop just a little bit of Cookie highlighter from Benefit, the most blinding highlighter. Okay, so that's it for today's look. I hope you liked it. See you next time.